Most people do not gain weight because they suddenly lose all discipline. Usually it happens more quietly than that. A few rushed mornings, a lunch eaten while distracted, an afternoon crash that turns into sugar, caffeine, or whatever feels easiest, long sitting, late snacking, weekend excess framed as balance. And over time, the body starts reflecting a rhythm that was never really chosen. That is the part many people miss. Weight is rarely just about appetite. It is often about environment timing, pace, and repetition. About how daily life is structured when no one is watching. And that is why aggressive plans fail so often. They demand intensity from a nervous system that is already tired. They rely on motivation when the real issue is often friction, convenience, and overstimulation. This is where Japanese-inspired habit philosophy can be useful not as a fantasy and not as a secret formula, but as a calmer way of thinking about physical regulation. Not punishment, not obsession, not all or nothing discipline. Just small systems that quietly make overeating less likely, movement more natural, and consistency easier to sustain. So, in this video, we're looking at 5 Japanese-inspired habits that can quietly help you stay slim without needing a gym-centered life. Not by chasing extremes, by changing the shape of ordinary days. The first habit is eating with rhythm instead of improvisation. Most people do not overeat because they are hungry all the time. They overeat because their day has no stable structure. Breakfast is skipped, lunch is delayed, energy drops, cravings rise. Then evening becomes a compensation window for everything the body and brain did not get earlier. This is partly physiological and partly behavioral. When meals are inconsistent, blood sugar swings become more likely. Attention gets worse. Decision-making gets weaker. And the brain becomes more vulnerable to high-reward foods because quick energy starts to feel like relief. You are no longer eating from steadiness. You are eating from recovery. A more stable approach is not necessarily eating less. It is eating more predictably. This matters because the body responds well to rhythm. Circadian biology influences hunger, digestion, alertness, and insulin sensitivity. When meals happen in a chaotic pattern, the body has more difficulty maintaining stable signals. When meals happen in a calmer rhythm, appetite often becomes less noisy. That is one reason many naturally balanced lifestyles do not begin with restriction. They begin with regularity. You do not need a perfect meal plan. You need fewer surprise emergencies. A simple breakfast, a defined lunch window, a lighter dinner before the body is exhausted. That alone changes a lot. Try this tomorrow. Instead of focusing on calories first, focus on timing. Eat your first 2 meals at roughly the same times you would like to repeat most days. Keep them simple. Protein, fiber, water. Nothing dramatic. The goal is not nutritional perfection. The goal is to reduce chaos, because chaos makes the body ask for more. The second habit is making food slower. Modern eating, is fast, distracted, and strangely unconscious. People eat while standing, driving, scrolling, replying, watching, and rushing. They finish meals before satiety signals have time to register. Then they assume they need more food, when often they only needed more presence. This is not about turning every meal into a ritual performance. It is about understanding one practical true speed changes: appetite. The brain and gut do not communicate instantly. Satiety cues take time. When eating is rapid, the reward system can outrun regulation. Highly palatable food disappears before the body has a chance to say, "That's enough," and distraction makes this worse. When attention is split, memory of the meal becomes weaker. And when meal memory is weaker, later, hunger can feel stronger than it actually is. The brain does not only respond to what you ate, it responds to how registered the eating experience was. So one quiet but powerful habit is this: sit down, plate food, and remove one source of stimulation. Not all stimulation, just one. No phone in your hand, no eating from the package, no standing at the counter for the whole meal. Use a bowl or plate. Put the food in front of you. Chew at a human pace. Pause once halfway through. That pause matters. It creates enough space for the body to catch up. And once eating slows down, something interesting happens. Portions often regulate themselves without much force. Not perfectly, but more naturally. The third habit is designing movement into daily life instead of outsourcing it to motivation. This is where many people get stuck. They think if they are not doing intense workouts, nothing counts. So on the days they do not go to the gym, they unconsciously choose a fully sedentary life and call it normal. But the body does not only respond to exercise sessions, it responds to accumulated movement: walking, standing, carrying, taking stairs, cleaning, short errands on foot, getting up regularly. These actions seem too small to matter, which is exactly why they are often sustainable. And sustainable is what changes the body. A lot of body composition is influenced not just by planned exercise, but by non-exercise movement across the day. When daily life is built around chairs, screens, delivery, and convenience, energy expenditure quietly drops. Not dramatically, repeatedly. That is enough. So instead of asking, "How do I force myself to work out harder?" ask, "How do I make stillness slightly less default?" Walk after meals for 10 minutes. Stand while taking a call. Keep one errand physical. Put frequently used items a little farther away. Use the longer path inside your own routine. Small movements count because they repeat. The point is not to become obsessed with step counts. The point is to stop living as if movement only matters when it looks like fitness. It matters whenever it happens. And that changes the psychology too, because once movement becomes part of identity, rather than a special event, resistance drops. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop waiting to feel inspired. You simply live in a way that asks the body to participate more often. The fourth habit is reducing food friction before hunger arrives. Most people try to make better food choices at the exact moment they are least equipped to make them, when they are tired, rushed, overstimulated, or already very hungry. At that point, the brain is not asking, "What supports my long-term health?" It is asking, "What solves this discomfort fastest?" That is not weakness. That is efficient biology. The brain prefers easy reward when energy is low, and modern environments are full of options designed to be immediate, dense, and highly stimulating. So if your kitchen desk or routine is built around convenience foods, the problem is not just self-control. The problem is that the path of least resistance is leading in the wrong direction. A more stable approach is to make the better option easier before the decision becomes emotional. This is a very quiet form of discipline. Cut fruit before you want it. Keep a simple soup, rice, eggs, yogurt, or easy protein ready. Use smaller bowls for snacks instead of eating from large packages. Put water where you can see it. Do not keep your most impulsive foods in your most visible spaces. Build 1 or 2 default meals you can return to when the day is messy. Defaults matter more than ideals. When people are forced to choose from scratch every time they eat, decision fatigue builds quickly. And decision fatigue rarely feels dramatic. It feels like ordering the easiest thing. It feels like eating whatever is open. It feels like I'll reset tomorrow. But tomorrow is usually built by what you prepared today. So take 10 minutes and make one future decision easier. Wash vegetables. Portion something simple. Clear part of the counter. Put one useful food where your eyes land first. That is not a small thing. It is a shift in who gets to decide your calm self or your depleted self. The 5th habit is protecting your evenings from overstimulation. This one matters more than many people realize. A lot of overeating does not come from physical hunger. It comes from nervous system fatigue. After a long day of screens, decisions, noise, and mental switching, the brain starts wanting relief. And food becomes one of the fastest available forms of reward, especially at night. This is where dopamine and attention play a quiet role. Fast entertainment, endless scrolling, and constant novelty can leave the brain both overstimulated and oddly unsatisfied. Then the body wants something grounding, comforting, immediate. And late-night eating starts to feel less like appetite and more like sedation. So the real question becomes, how do you end the day in a way that does not create unnecessary hunger signals? Not with perfect discipline, with a softer landing. Dim the lights earlier. Stop eating directly from packages. Make your final meal feel complete, not rushed. Have tea instead of continuing to graze. Put snacks away when the kitchen closes. Charge your phone away from where you relax if screens pull you into mindless eating. Create a visible endpoint. That endpoint matters psychologically. When the day has no closing ritual, eating can become the background activity that fills every loose moment. But when the evening has shape appetite, often becomes easier to read. You can tell the difference between hunger and depletion more clearly. And that is the deeper pattern in all 5 habits. Staying slim is often less about forcing the body and more about reducing the conditions that make excess feel automatic. Regular meals reduce rebound eating. Slower meals improve satiety. Daily movement keeps the body engaged. Lower food friction improves decisions. Quieter evenings reduce reward seeking. None of this is flashy. That is the strength of it. Because the habits that work are often the ones that do not demand a different life. They fit inside a real one. So, if you want to change your body without turning your life into a constant project, begin smaller than you think. Eat with more rhythm. Slow one meal down. Walk after dinner. Prepare one simple default food. End the night more quietly. That is how real discipline often looks. Not intense, not performative, not exhausting. Just well-placed actions repeated often enough that the body starts trusting them. And when the body trusts the rhythm, it usually stops asking for so much chaos. That is where change becomes visible, not in one heroic week, but in the ordinary days that start to feel lighter, steadier, and easier to repeat.